Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the second episode of the Council of the Whills. This is going to be a special, somewhat shorter episode. We are covering the behind the scenes reel that was just released at D23, and one of the members of the council was lucky enough to be there. So, without further ado, I'm Jane.
I'm Jen.
I'm Amber.
And let's get this balls rolling.
Okay, so this is Jen, and I was the one that managed to get in there today to the live action panel. Yes, I was camping out since God knows what time yesterday on Friday and slept overnight, which actually wasn't that bad, I'll have to say, to be in the live action Disney panel for D23, and it was everything I wanted. There wasn't any additional footage other than the behind the scenes reel and a few pictures that Ryan Johnson threw up during the entire thing. Daisy Ridley was there, John Boyega was there, Gwendolyn Christie was there, Kelly Marie Tran was there, Laura Dern was there, and Benicio del Toro was there. Plus, Mark Hamill comes on at the very end, and they tried to pull the whole thing again where, I don't know, Mark Hamill's not on stage yet. I wonder, hey, it's Mark Hamill! They did kind of the same thing at Comic-Con in 2015 when they did the Star Wars panel. When they brought out all the older actors, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford at the very end. But Mark Hamill also got his Legends Award yesterday for Disney, so everybody knew he was here. And we saw a couple more behind-the-scenes pictures. We saw more of Rey in her new, I guess, Jedi robes. I don't know what they've been christened yet. I've washed the floor. And then we got the behind-the-scenes reel, and we all sort of sat there waiting with bated breath for more, and they cut right to Marvel, which isn't bad. It was all super cool. They did mention that it looks like Finn is going to have a run-in with Phasma, and it actually was kind of cute because Gwendolyn and John got really close, and she like rubbed her nose on his, and was like, "Oh, that's kind of adorable." And Laura Dern will fire a blaster at some point, and she makes pew pew noises when she does, as I believe almost every actor ever. At least it's not Harrison Ford's bang, bang.
So enthusiastic.
I know, so enthusiastic every time I see it. And then they literally were like, and that's a wrap for Star Wars. You know, it's in sound mixing right now. That's to give you an idea of how far along it is. I'm sure another trailer is imminent, but it hasn't dropped yet. And then it went right into Infinity War. We got to see all those guys up there on the stage, and then got our Infinity Wars trailer. So it was really good, and Last Jedi looks really, really well put together, and I'm almost wondering if what they're doing is kind of what Adam Driver said that he wanted, is that you go into this not knowing anything, because I think from today all we learned is it looks like Rose and Finn are going to infiltrate the First Order. Phasma and Finn are going to have a run-in. You know, Rey is going to be doing something where she gets a new outfit. She's going to be more looking like a Jedi. And, you know, Kylo is off doing his thing. We saw one brief image of Hux. We saw Mark in a new outfit as well. We saw Luke in a new outfit. Other than that, I'm trying, like, the behind-the-scenes reel was so good. And then I started crying at Carrie again. I think I'm just going to cry this entire movie. Other than that, like, there's so much coursing through my veins right now. I literally got back about 2 hours ago and had to like stuff food in my face and shower. To come is I'm going to go to the Star Wars Land preview diorama, which looks amazing. And they had the parks panel, which I didn't unfortunately get to go into, where they talked a little bit more about it. And yeah, they're now selling Rey's lightsaber, and it has a removable blade. That's also awesome. And it's coming home with me.
All that awesome merchandise.
There's for Star Wars, it didn't seem like there were a lot of new merchandise, at least Star Wars specific. I also did end up with the Kylo Ren and Rey set and the Leia and Vader set of action figures. My friend is lucky enough to have a sorcerer's badge, which is a VIP badge, and was nice enough to grab me one of each, which I am paying him back, but I don't think I would have been able to get it if he didn't have that.
That's awesome.
That's really sweet of him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm paying him, but it was really nice. And yeah, I mean, it's been a whirlwind. There's a lot more people here than I thought there would be. From what I understand, the overnight this night went by a lot better. Nobody came to visit the line. But it was really well organized, a lot more than Celebration, actually. And also Oprah told me that I got a poster. Oh, because she had to do it, because Oprah was also on stage for Wrinkle of Time, and we all got posters. You get a poster, and you get a poster! Which, oh my god, it was amazing.
That's cool.
That makes me want to go to D23. Save up for 2019.
Yeah. 2019 is going to be intense because there's Celebration, there's D23, there's San Diego Comic-Con. Yeah, which I get to go do that next weekend.
Super fun.
That endurance. I don't know if I could do 2 weeks of 2 huge cons back to back.
Oh, yeah. Especially like San Diego Comic-Con. Oh, my God.
It's my second time doing it. Because last year I did Star Wars Celebration in London. Didn't sleep for like 4 days, 5 days. Because I was time shifted, didn't know what was really didn't know what day it was. Came back for less than 24 hours, got on the plane down to San Diego, didn't sleep because it was in lines. And actually by the end, I was like, I don't care anymore. I'm like, I don't even want to be here.
That was me at the end of Celebration for sure.
Oh yeah, by the end of it, I was just out of it. It's like, no. No. We do not make enough caffeine for this.
You do get to the point, which is why I am really glad that I only camped out last night. And I get to sleep in a nice bed tonight. Because there are people that will be camping out all 3 nights. And I don't know how they do it.
Well, hopefully they don't have like that insane AC system that Celebration Orlando had that froze you. It was so cold.
Oh, God, for real.
They do. I was like, no, they do. Because apparently it was worse the first night, but it was kind of like the second night for Celebration. It was so cold and people were complaining, and then you just froze. The kind of cool thing that they did have was they played a bunch of movies during the night. So, you were trying to sleep and you only kind of woke up every so often because there was a nice movie playing. So they played Zootopia, the new Beauty and the Beast, Finding Dory, and Rogue One. And it was actually kind of hilarious because everybody like shot up at the Star Wars music. We're like, Star Wars! And I'm like, which one? Rogue One. Okay.
Oh, I like what happened with Ryan Johnson. I was half asleep when he came in, and I heard his voice, and I'm like, wait, what? Where is he? Where is he? I hear it.
Oh, that was the other thing. I also went to go see Brian Kissinger. Yeah, because he drew little Kylo for me, so I'm excited.
Aww.
So, yeah, and I probably will see him next week because I'm gonna check with my friend if she wants me to go grab his book for Octavia and the Octopus. I'm sure that is wrong. I am so sorry to everybody out there that loves it. It is very well done. I think it's all great. I have not collected any of it.
Gotcha. Actually, I just wanted to add on a quick note. I wrote some notes down about the trailer and behind the scenes releases over the past couple of years. And so far, Rogue One and The Force Awakens are following the same schedule that we've gotten with Last Jedi. So on July 15th of last year, we got the behind the scenes reel for Celebration London for Rogue One, and we got it the same day this year at D23. So, yeah, if the
in July 10th for Comic-Con.
Yep.
For Force Awakens.
Yep. And if the pattern continues, we'll see our next trailer for The Last Jedi in early August. Rogue One was released August 11th, so August 11th is on a Friday this year, and if it continues, they usually release, I think, you're either on Tuesdays or Thursdays, so I would bet probably that week we'll get the next trailer.
August 11th last year was a Thursday.
Gotcha.
I'm checking what movies are dropping on August 11th.
Well, I know that because I work for a TV station, I have to watch like Good Morning America all the time. And we'll usually get like the first exclusive look at a trailer off GMA because they're owned by Disney. I remember seeing like The Force Awakens on GMA, and I saw Rogue One on GMA, so I assume we'll see The Last Jedi on GMA as well.
That's really nice. You get to see it before all of us.
I mean, you can wake up early.
That's true.
It works for the West Coast.
That's true. I'm all the way over on the East Coast. It's already almost 10 o'clock at night for me.
Oh, good God.
I'm a night owl, so it's no big deal.
Yeah, so do we want to talk about anything significant from the behind-the-scenes reel?
I'm really excited to see Finn and Rose in First Order uniforms and doing some kind of infiltration, I hope, because I think that that's interesting for all of their characters, because it's forcing Finn to confront his past, because he obviously knows everything about the First Order, or at least knows enough, but he also has the ability to blend in as long as he doesn't meet any other troopers, because none of the officers know what he looks like, I would assume. That's not true.
There's actually, to go back to like an old leak, supposedly, Tom Hardy is supposed to have a cameo as a stormtrooper who recognizes Finn, and he slaps him on the butt as a congratulatory thing because he thinks he got promoted to officer.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, that's an old leak from like months and months ago.
I remember that leak, and didn't they say in that same leak that the First Order, to discourage the other stormtroopers from getting any, bright ideas, that they made it seem like Finn went undercover rather than he said, "Screw y'all, I'm out."
Oh, so they also have to play along then.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's clever.
Yeah.
That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, if that's the route they go, then that's going to be really cool.
Yeah.
I'm definitely excited to see Rose and Finn's storyline and their whole, infiltration and whatnot, and how that's going to play out.
Yeah.
Because Rose, is just a maintenance worker, so it's great to see her like getting missions and whatnot.
Indeed. Well, they also kind of have to differentiate it from Rogue One, because that's a criticism that I've seen. I don't share it, but I've seen it online, saying, "Oh, well, they're going undercover. It's just like Rogue One." No, not quite. Like, Finn used to be a stormtrooper, and he, like Jen was saying, he has to confront it and also not be recognized, and it's a really delicate balance.
It can play really well to all of the development because, Leia, we don't know how Leia feels about this. We don't know how the rest of the Resistance really feels about him, other than, okay, you got it, you help destroy the Star Killer base. I almost called it the Death Star. Oh my god.
Whoops. So did they.
So did they. Also, thank you, Donald Gleason. I always say his name wrong. At some point I will learn.
It's like thing. I don't think anyone can pronounce it.
Either way, I can't really pronounce his name, but he gave away Star Killer Base apparently at the 2015 Comic-Con panel, and I remember literally everybody turning and looking at him, and Adam just shook his head. after he said it, he knew, and he looked to Kathleen Kennedy and was just like, I shouldn't have said that.
Oh, it's like Hagrid.
That's probably why it looks like he may be getting killed off, because literally the only thing we've seen of him is that one shot in the behind-the-scenes reel, and I haven't really heard much of anything of his character.
Or they've learned don't let him do press.
Yeah. Well,
He's the worst.
didn't JJ play it off and be like, "Oh yeah, in honor of Luke's Starkiller, we're calling this Starkiller base," which is a pretty clever way of playing it off.
Yeah, I mean, JJ was on it, and everybody else was kind of on it, but there was the moment of, "No one has to say that. We were told not to." Like, you could see, and everybody kind of looked a little uncomfortable because, I mean, that was a really interesting panel to be on. They could say almost nothing about their characters because that was the first time you were seeing the majority of them, really. And it was like, okay, well, what can you say about your character? This is their name. I think that they're this. Okay, Kathleen, they're this. Thank you for confirming that I can say that.
Yeah.
And that was it. And it was a lot more about how the movie itself was made. And then when you got Mark, Carey, and Harrison on, it was really like talking about them and coming back to their characters and how they interacted with the newer actors, if at all. And yeah, I mean, really from a lot of the promotional stuff, you get the sense that Luke is actually going to be a lot more involved in The Force Awakens than he was. And I'm wondering, they can't really do that with this movie because there's nobody that can do press right now that can play off their role as being less than or greater than of that generation, because the only person that can do press right now for The Last Jedi is Mark Hamill. And I just made myself sad.
I mean, everything is so shrouded in secrecy, and Luke is really the only character that's like, yes, he gets dialogue. Talk about how much you get to talk in the Last Jedi, but no one else can really say anything.
Well, and Mark pointed out at the panel, actually, and I hope it gets quoted, is that the media loves to misquote him and loves to misquote literally all of them. So he said, something at D23 the last time, The Force Awakens might not be, what everybody's expecting, or all the hardcore fans are expecting, were his words. And what the press said is, Mark Hamill says that The Force Awakens is not going to be what Star Wars fans want. And he thinks it's going to fail or something like that. And he was like,
fake news.
Fake news. But it was kind of hilarious to, have him say that. So he's watching his words now too, because he sees himself getting misquoted, and he's probably telling everybody else that, you've got to watch what you say. They're twisting everything, even if it's the slightest thing.
It's like one of those shady, like, clickbait. Basically, they're fishing for clickbait to get people to read and view and watch.
Yeah.
Well, they did that thing at Celebration already when Mark was talking about how he disagreed with Ryan on Luke's arc and whatnot, and everybody was like, Mark Hamill hates Luke Skywalker.
Exactly.
It's just crazy. I mean, it's different. The Last Jedi is going to be very different, and I think that the actors, they feel a connection to these characters because they have to be these characters. They have to be inside their head. And a director who's new coming into it, well, he's not new. I mean, Rian Johnson worked with JJ writing The Force Awakens, but with, for lack of a better word, a new director coming in and going, well, I don't know if my character would quite do that. But then Mark Hamill has backtracked and said, well, I didn't agree with it initially, but now that we've done it, and I've seen his vision, I've seen Ryan's vision, I see what he wanted, and it makes sense. And it's different, but it's good.
Yeah, that's what Daisy was saying in this behind-the-scenes reel, where it's really unexpected, but, it's right.
And she made the point in the behind-the-scenes, it feels like its own movie. She's like, yes, it's the middle of the trilogy, but it feels like it's different enough that it's its own movie, and the way that it is in the behind the scenes reel, it's like it's a good thing. And I think it is a good thing, because the one main criticism I've seen from a lot of people is that The Force Awakens is so much like A New Hope. You know, is The Last Jedi just going to be like Empire? And, you know, can they not do new things? And I think Rian Johnson did new things, and I think we're going to be very, very surprised in December. And also, I want all of those posters.
They look so good. Can we talk about the cliff scene? Because they did like 5 or 6 shots of it. It's like, oh, there's a cliff scene. There's a cliff
yeah,
scene.
absolutely.
They also showed Daisy in the water.
So yeah, she's going underwater, and it could be with the battle that happens, or the fight when Kylo and who we assume are the Knights of Ren. I've heard some people say that it's the Praetorian Guards. We really don't know. Or it could be
yeah, I heard it's the guards.
Gotcha.
Well, and you see Daisy practicing her combat with you see her for the staff, and you see her for the saber, and it's a saber, and there's 3 coming at her. It looks more like a saber stance than a staff stance. And I'm doing them, I'm mimicking them so nobody can see it, but I'm mimicking the difference.
Yeah, no, I definitely saw like her 2 different combat, like her combat training shot where it looked like she had the staff for one and the lightsaber for the other. And definitely looks like she's using the lightsaber to fight off whoever those faceless stuntmen may be. And it's worth noting that the images we've gotten for the Praetorian Guard show them with long staffs like that.
Yeah.
And also what I find interesting is Kylo was fighting the same stuntmen with the same staff. So it's like...
Agreed. Yeah, that was definitely intriguing for me.
It's like, interesting.
One that I've also seen is you see Kylo standing, it looks like over a table. Somebody pointed out that looks a lot like the scene that we see with Leia.
Are you talking about the one where it looks like he's just like chilling in a bar, where he like looks up suddenly?
Kind of, but it's also in like, it's all white.
Oh.
Does it look like it was a shot of the movie, or just a shot of behind the scenes, like with the lighting crew?
See, that's the thing, is it looks like it could be either, because it almost looks like the behind the scenes with Carrie when she's standing over her table for her, like, to give a meeting.
Oh, okay.
I think I know the one you're talking about. Is it where he's in profile and you can see the full scar?
Yes.
Yeah, I know the shot you're talking about. Because when I saw that, I thought that was behind the scenes, but, you know, isn't the First Order going to blow up a resistant ship? And maybe he blew up the ship and he's surveying really the rubble of what they've done.
It would be really interesting for Kylo Ren to be on that attack, because what I've seen so far, it just kind of looks like Phasma and her troops. So it'll be really interesting to see if they really bring him to the Resistance base, because I think there was people talking that there was going to be the attack on the Resistance base, and they evacuate as many people as they can, and then they take some prisoners. That was in that 4chan leak, right?
Yes, I think, yep, you're right.
Well, then, I mean, look, that 4chan leak is looking real accurate at this point.
Yeah, it's kind of scarily accurate, or at least what's been released is going in line with it, so either it's really, really good bullshit, or it's real.
The more that it's coming out, the more that I think it's real. And there were a couple people today in, new Rey cosplay that I was like, you know something, because we have not seen the real full body of Rey until today, and they had it down pat. I was like, where did you get your info?
Yeah.
So the cliff scene. Let's talk about the cliff scene real quick. I think it's interesting because we've definitely had some rumors for a long time, especially back when they were filming The Last Jedi, that people said that they saw lights underwater and they thought that the Millennium Falcon was getting submerged, but later it looked like they were just doing some filming underwater out on Skellig Michael, and then later IMDb would confirm that they had underwater stunt specialists and aqua effects and stuff like that. And the behind-the-scenes reel has now confirmed that we are getting some underwater scenes. It could go hand-in-hand with the sea monster leaks that we've been hearing, because that was in the 4chan leak, and I've heard it in some other leaks as well, that Rey has to fight some sort of sea monster, which could definitely be what these water things are for. Did you guys just see Rey and Rey stunt double type people jumping in the water, or was there anyone else?
It was just Ray.
That's what I thought.
I might have to rewatch it because it looked like one of them was a man. I don't know if it was Adam or if it was his stunt double, but I saw this silhouette of a really in shape dude, but going down. Now I could have to watch it again because I've only seen it twice.
Well, it's definitely possible that it could be, someone else who's doing it as well. But yeah, it's nice to see that we've gotten the so-called cliff scene confirmed, where Ray seems to be diving into the water to some end.
I'm excited.
If Ray does go into the water, I would be really interested to see how it's explained how she can swim. Because if she's grown up on Jakku her whole life and she can suddenly swim, I'd be like, you're going to have to explain that to me.
Yeah, I definitely hope that they, explain that she's been just, going swimming throughout the day or something at the very least.
Yeah, like Luke's giving her swimming lessons.
I'm also entirely okay with she doesn't know how to swim, and it's somebody force talks to her, or Luke goes in and saves her or something. I know people have said that other people go save her, but let's see what's going on.
Yeah, well, that's a big assumption to make. It could be Luke's training her, saying you need to conquer your fear. You need to jump in and go swim.
It looks like they did some significant work with some underwater scenes. There's a lot of water involved with all this.
It makes me really excited to see where this goes, because I love underwater, the way things move, just the movement of fabric and hair and the way it looks visually. It's beautiful, and I can't wait to see what they do with it.
Do we want to talk about the cool little animals that we've seen in this?
Oh my god, the porgs are so cute. I screamed like a little girl.
I love the porgs.
They look so amazing. It was like, yes, and then also the silver thingies that look like they're made of ice.
Yeah.
Yes, I call it the space fox because I don't know what else to call it, because it looks like a fox made out of ice.
It's beautiful, and I want 7.
Yes.
Make a figure and take my money.
Yeah, I will buy that pop.
And then it was nice to see the space horse up close.
Oh yeah.
I think it's actually called like a farthier or something like that.
I think so. That's the name that I saw. Like a Faldier or Faldier, however. We'll see how it's pronounced in December. The face is so cute. The design from behind, from the photos down of John Boyega and Kelly Marie Tran, and it's like, it's an interesting horse. But then you see the face, it's just like, it's so cute. I want to hug it.
Yeah, it's precious. I'm scared of horses, but I still want one.
I want 5.
Well, don't they race those on Canto Bight? Isn't that the whole premise of them?
Yeah, I think they're part of the casino circuit in the sense that it's like horse racing.
Gotcha.
I'm going through the trailer, and I think I only see Ray and Ray-shaped people in the water.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, I'll have to... I take your word on it. It could be Mike's screen, and it could also be it's 10 o'clock at night here.
5 more times, because I've only seen it, in person.
Do you think that Ray and Finn will be together? Because there's a little picture of them dancing, and it looks like they're on the set of Crate. Now, I don't know if Daisy just went over to go say hi, or if that was filmed together.
I will say that it does look like they're on Crate. And speaking of, man, that shot right at the beginning with the red dust flying up, so nice.
Yeah.
Back a few weeks ago, there were some Lego set leaks, and the Crate that had a Ray in it. So I'm going to assume that she's on Crate with Finn, and they have this reunion because, she's in the Lego playset, so it seems to lead me to believe that somehow she ends up on that planet. I am willing to bet that this is our Starkiller base in the sense that this is where the big climax of the film happens. Because Leia's there, you can see in one of the shots, and it looks like there's a huge battle going down, and you got Finn and Rey there, so I think it's going to be pretty significant.
Gotcha. Wouldn't that also imply if Rey is there and Leia is there, that Luke is there as well, and we'll see the twins reunited?
Yes.
I do think that that's where they may be headed with this.
I have one thing, too, to talk about that I just noticed, and it's not even from the trailers, it's from the posters. But first of all, I think that if Rey and Finn are going to be together, it's going to be at the end of the movie. I don't think their paths are going to converge until then. It's not going to be immediate. I think they're going to go on separate journeys, and as opposed to Empire, where it was, everybody's in trouble, that's how they're all going to get back together. They're just going to happen to meet up. It's not going to be Rey is drawn there or Finn is drawn there. It's we're both at the same battle. I guess we're going to meet up again. But what I noticed from the posters is Luke and Rey are holding the same saber.
Someone in my Facebook group pointed out that it doesn't actually seem to be the same saber. I haven't looked that deeply into it, but can you confirm or deny that?
Here are the two differences, and it's literally like holding the Rey saber next to the Luke Skywalker saber, and I have both, and I can take pictures of both, and you can see where the difference is that on Rey's poster you see the little screws at the bottom, and on Luke's you don't.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually pretty interesting, because I don't know if they would try to actually, take a lightsaber away from Luke, especially if he doesn't seem to have one.
That's true.
But I don't know where his green saber is, to be honest.
It died.
Just dead.
I don't think we're going to see the green saber in this movie. As much as people want it, I don't think we're going to see it, or if we are, they are keeping the secret of all secrets.
Yeah, that's the twist, is that he's had the green saber all along.
Yeah, I have both posters of Rey and Luke, and it looks like the bottom part of the staff, or not the staff, the saber, it's different.
It's been great talking with you guys. I actually have to head out and do some more D23 things, but have fun, and oh my god, it's been amazing today. Bye.
So yeah.
Laters.
Jane and I will continue just a few more thoughts before we wrap this up. On the subject of the posters, I did notice, and I don't know if this is an aesthetic sort of thing that they were going with, or if it's just kind of random, but it seems to be that every character is facing the same direction, with the exception of Kylo Ren and Rey.
I did notice that. I did. And it's interesting, without, going too far down the rabbit hole into headcanon territory. It's interesting. It could be because of, it's our main heroine and our main villain, and whether he is a villain, it's a debate for another episode. But they're our main adversaries at this point. So I don't know if that's to differentiate them, or if it's just to stir the pot and see how the fans react.
Yeah, it's interesting to say the least. Yeah. I am super intrigued by it. I also think it's really interesting that they're all awash in red, because we've seen all of these costumes on them fully colorized, and none of them are red. And so it's really interesting that they've all gotten that little red hue to it, much like the Star Wars does in the logo for The Last Jedi.
And like the teaser poster, it's because drawing and color theory, it's what I do for a living. I could say so much about it, but I don't have proof. All I know is, just how color theory is used in marketing and in advertising, and red, especially in a film about good and evil, red has a very specific meaning to it. And the fact that everyone is bathed in red, I really do think that they're laying the foundation for more moral ambiguity, and not just, this is good, and this is evil, and that's it.
Which is a theme that they explored in Rogue One, in the sense that it's not just the Empire who does really sketchy things. Like, the Rebellion was doing, some really messed up things as well, in the sense that, Cassian was there to assassinate Galen Erso.
They were a terrorist cell for all intents and purposes. And it really is a matter of perspective.
It's really interesting that we seem to have a lot of white posters that are bathed in red, when the planet Crate is a white planet with red undersoil, or red mineral below the surface, and that we seem to have this pure white planet just being marred up with red, much like all of the posters that we've been seeing so far.
I did notice that. That was a really interesting visual parallel. And I think this was a couple months ago, but it was before Celebration, but there was an interview with Ryan Johnson where he said that he picked the design and the aesthetic of Crate just because he really liked the color and the composition, similar to the Forest Duel, how they had this bright blue and this bright red against this snowy forest, because it made a very clear statement and it was very visually appealing.
Yeah, and there's something really jarring about the constant red on white color scheme.
Yeah.
Because it does feel very sacrificial in a way.
Yes, sacrificial and also a bit, well, yeah, I'd definitely say symbolic as well. Like it's, we assume or associate white with goodness and purity, but underneath it, there's all of this red, and red usually has a very negative connotation with it. It's so interesting, and I can go on and on about this.
Oh yeah, I mean the other meaning in my head that I'm thinking is purity versus passion. So it brings this really interesting like dichotomy to it, because white means so much and red means so much, and we're just kind of being just gobsmacked with this color combination and all of the marketing so far.
Yeah, I thought it was cheeky that when the logo was first released and everyone's going, "Oh my God, it's in red," and Ryan Johnson said, "It's just red. There's nothing to read into it." It's like, no, you can't fool us with that.
Yeah, now he's just, it's everywhere. So it's definitely like an interesting combination sort of thing. And I think it's really interesting that we're sitting here and we're looking at just so much red as far as this goes to kind of say that, no one is free from blood on their hands in a lot of ways.
Yeah. Well, it definitely also alludes to what the behind the scenes reel seemed to really be hammering home was it's different and there's going to be a twist that no one sees coming.
Yeah, totally agree. I definitely think that's interesting.
Yeah, that was the other thing that just stood out. It's because Daisy said it, Mark said it, and John all said it. And it's like, well, they're really trying to hammer that in, that something about this is going to be different.
Yeah, I do think it's really interesting that, you have these three like lead characters all kind of discussing the fact that it's not going to be anything like we've seen before, and that we really should be expecting a huge twist, which means any conclusions that I think the general public is drawing from The Force Awakens, not to go too hard into the Rey parentage theories at this, date and time, or, how Kylo Ren's story is going to end. It seems very cut and dry from The Force Awakens, but I really think that we shouldn't put too much stock in the things that seem that obvious.
Yeah, definitely. Most people that I talk to, even really hardcore Star Wars fans, are so convinced of their conclusions based off of the simplest answers in The Force Awakens. And it's not that. It's going to be different, it's going to be deeper, and the lore of the Star Wars universe is going to be changed and expanded upon. And I think that it's going to, because the lore is going to be different or expanded upon, it's going to reiterate that this is going to be an entirely different experience. And Ryan Johnson makes different movies. He doesn't make action, he does make action blockbusters, but he's known for having movies with a deeper meaning.
Yeah, definitely.
And
I think any symbolism that we pull from this movie is going to be there quite intentionally, because Ryan is really an artist in a lot of ways, because you can rewatch his stuff and see something and be like, oh, that's symbolic foreshadowing right there.
Yeah. And the fact that he was involved with the writing of The Force Awakens and said, hey, can you add this? Can you have this character be here? Could you maybe tweak this? I think that those little tiny details are really going to show up in The Last Jedi.
I agree. I already tweeted Ryan and I told him he was my hero and that this was going to be the best Star Wars yet, and he's already liked it. So I think he's really just basking in some praise right now from a lot of people.
Aww, but it's gonna be so good. Like, not to screw it, I'm gonna go full on fangirl, but he's he's so good. He's a wonderful director. He's a wonderful writer. He's a wonderful artist, like a cinematic artist, and it's just gonna be so good and so different, and isn't just going to be a typical formulaic, go here, bad stuff happens, yay, heroes win. It's really going to make you think. There's going to be ambiguity. There's going to be nuance. It's going to be so good.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think it's fantastic.
Gotcha.
Hopefully we're not, eating crow in 5 months, but
I don't think we will.
I don't think so either.
I might eat my words in 4 months, or 5 months, but we'll see. Yes.
Oh, there was really only one more thing I wanted to bring up.
Go for it.
So I think we're definitely getting a shot of Paige Tico in the gunner spot.
Yes.
But then we see who I assume is Paige, just because it's the same outfit, falling through this canyon thing between two walls of bombs.
Yes, I was going to ask, did you think they were the same explosives that Han and Chewie used for Starkiller? Because that's what they looked like to me.
They looked really similar, but I'm more concerned that they're just going to kill Paige off.
Yeah, I don't want her to die. I
don't want her to die either, because I've already grown attached to her and I haven't seen a damn thing about her.
Yeah.
But it feels like they're going to set up Rose's connection to Finn out of grief initially.
Mm-hmm.
My sister's dead. She fell from her gunner position down a wall of bombs and now she's dead.
Yeah.
So I'm just really concerned that they're going to set them up as sisters and then just kill one of them off and focus on the other for the rest of the movie or the rest of the trilogy.
Well, hypothetically, if that was the case, and based on the marketing that they're pushing for Finn and Rose, that they're going to be a romantic couple, because that's just the direction that they're going, if Paige dies at the hands of the First Order, and Rose is like, wait a second, you were First Order, that would be some really interesting character development to push them both forward in, because it would definitely cause a lot of conflict for Rose, because didn't Ryan say that she's a huge fan of Finn? And go, wait a second, this guy used to be the First Order.
I don't quite know if she would specifically be like, oh hey, you're the First Order.
Mm-hmm.
She may not trust him, because what if he's the one who brought the First Order to their base?
Yeah.
What if he's somehow responsible for her falling or whatnot? I do think there's a lot of opportunities for conflict between Rose and Finn. I don't quite know that they'll use it. I think if they are going to be in a relationship at some point, I think they would probably try to keep it more simple, because Ryan said in the Vanity Fair that there's not really that hot and cold sort of Han and Leia romance.
Yeah.
Where it's all fire the entire time,
Yeah.
So I think if anything, they would kind of have a sweeter type of relationship, kind of like puppies in a way, I suppose.
Just kind of sweet and simple and uncomplicated.
Yeah. I don't think they would do too much to throw them into conflict with each other when they're clearly going to have so much conflict around them.
Yeah, I definitely see where you're coming from there. And it would be nice to see something just sweet and uncomplicated for once.
So I think it'd be nice to just kind of have this kind of easygoing relationship where they're partners and friends and, eventually maybe a romantic pair.
I fully expect them to be a romantic pair, because, that's just the marketing has been, when you play Across the Stars, when they both come out, it's pretty obvious. That's what you're pushing. You want Finn and Rose.
Well, and I feel like they're being really heavy-handed with it in that sense. Because, you had Kelly Marie Tran show up to Celebration London wearing an I Heart Finn shirt. And then you play Across the Stars when they're on stage together. And then, everyone's just real. And you got John Boyega giving interviews where he's like, oh, Kelly's the new star of Star Wars. She's the leading lady. And, Like, not to doubt Kelly Marie Tran or anything like that, but it just feels really forced how much they're being like Finn and Rose, Finn and Rose, Finn and Rose, and it almost feels like a red herring in a way.
Yes, I was actually gonna bring that up because you told me that at the dinner that night. I'm like, the more I thought about it, it's like, oh, there's something. You got to keep an eye on Rose. There's something to her. There's more to her that meets the eye.
I'm super mistrustful of everything these days.
Well, I mean, I can't even say that because I had The Force Awakens spoiled for me. I didn't see it. I'm a bad Star Wars fan. I didn't see it until February because I was being like a Star Wars hipster and like it's never gonna be as good.
Oh.
Well, because I saw all the prequels in theaters and I still can't finish The Phantom Menace. I can watch parts and I can put all those parts together, but I can't sit and finish it from beginning to end. I hate it so much. It's so bad. And
I'm like the worst kind of Star Wars fan in the sense that like everything they put out, I'm like, this is amazing. I'm so happy to watch this.
well, I've like really had to bite my tongue on it because I was wrong, flat out. I was so wrong about The Force Awakens because I saw it and I'm like, oh, well, I'll just go to the discount theater where it's cheap and I wouldn't have wasted money when it's bad like the prequels were bad. And I saw it and I'm like, oh my God, it's amazing. And then I went and bought tickets for the movie again that night and going, okay, I gotta go see this again. And yeah, I saw it, I think 9 times between Valentine's Day and it going out of theaters, which was I think like 3 or 4 weeks later. I have a problem.
Yeah, I watched it 11 times in theaters. It was pretty cool. They have, $5 movies on Tuesdays, so I would just go after work and watch it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was really nice to just be able to watch the movie alone and cry.
Yeah. Oh, speaking of crying, getting back to the behind the scenes reel. I cried when Carrie started speaking. Oh my God. It's like I was back at Celebration crying.
Same. I can't imagine what I'm gonna actually be like when when I see the movie. It's gonna be the worst. Like, I already know I'm gonna have to see it like 5 or 6 times just so I catch everything that I miss while sobbing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just, I'm going to be between crying and excitement. Well, I know when tickets go up, I'm getting tickets for the midnight showing and then the next day. So I can just go back and immediately see it again and not have to fight crowds.
Yeah, my boyfriend isn't much for like opening week movies because they're always super crowded. So I don't know when I'm going to see it. I know when The Force Awakens came out, I like deactivated my Facebook account.
I don't blame you.
I just went off the grid for like a week, I think.
I don't blame you. It's everything gets spoiled.
Let's see, what all have we discussed? We didn't talk about Poe at all, or Benicio del Toro.
Yeah, but they didn't really give us much to go on. It was the second time I saw it before I realized, wait a second, that's Benicio del Toro's character. That was like less than a second of screen time.
Yeah, they really seem to have been playing up definitely playing up Finn, Rose, Rey, and Kylo Ren.
Yeah.
And Luke in it. Leia is in there, of course, but it's really just like what I consider to be our 2 main storylines, which is Finn and Rose and Luke, Rey, and Kylo Ren.
Yeah, definitely.
Even if I think Kylo Ren will probably have his own storyline off doing nothing.
Yeah, well, I completely forgot about that. The shot that had his 3 helmets and one of them was destroyed. That was interesting.
Yeah, it looked like behind the scenes prop work. Like, it looked like they created a couple different helmets for different states of destruction.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of curious to see how that's going to play off. We only got one shot of him with his mask on.
Yeah.
And he was clearly somewhere with
It's the First Order, and because he has like his helmet on, we don't know if it's Vader's cape, but he has the whole cape action going on.
It's interesting. I'm pretty intrigued to see his storyline because he doesn't look menacing in a single shot.
No.
Like, I know that everyone is expecting him to be our big bad, but he looks like a puppy who got left at the park and is trying to find his way home.
Yeah. Yeah. it's difficult to keep my headcanons and my personal bias away from just the facts and what has been presented to us and not leaping to conclusions based on what I think we're going to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he doesn't look menacing. I mean, they gave him a scar, but the scar makes him look sexy. It doesn't make him look villainous or monstrous. It makes him look attractive. It makes him look like this fallen prince, which, I mean, he is.
Yeah, he God, and I know Pablo Hidalgo just hates the idea of like the tortured villain and whatnot, but like that's 1000% what it looks like they're doing. It doesn't seem like Snoke wants anything to do with Kylo Ren anymore. Interesting that we got no shots of Snoke. They're really trying to keep him under wraps.
Well, didn't Ryan also say that he didn't really focus a whole lot on Snoke? We're really going to get more of that in 9.
Yeah, but I still think that there's room to have him in it, so it's fun to kind of theorize what role he's actually going to play in it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they have to give us something other than here's Snoke. He's a big hologram. He's evil. Okay. I mean, they have to give us something about him to keep us engaged and not go, oh, it's just another bad guy.
Yeah, and like right now, a lot of people are trying to figure out like where Snoke is. Like he was clearly a hologram, so where is he hiding out? And people are constantly trying to figure out who he is, and people are using the hologram as an excuse to make him any character they want.
Yeah. Well, wasn't it confirmed that Snoke has basically a mobile battle station, for lack of a better word, and he's constantly in motion, so he can't be pinpointed to any single location?
Yeah, I think that's what I heard in the sense that he has his like. I mean, I heard he's like a space Hugh Hefner, in the sense that he's got like a pimp robe and like a throne that he sits on. And he's just kind of running around, chilling, doing whatever he wants. I think it's interesting that we didn't get like any sort of look at Snoke whatsoever. Like not a dang thing. Like even if he's not going to be like a huge role in this himself, it would be interesting just to see like the direction they took him, unless they're really trying to keep his like costume and stuff under wraps as far as the general public goes.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. Well, I pulled out my Force Awakens art book when the stuff from Making Star Wars dropped, saying that Snoke, I mean, he's lavish and he loves money and he's basically a pimp in space. And there is a picture of him in this really elaborate, really expensive looking golden robe. So I do believe that's true. And it also coincides with the Lego leaks where he looks like he's wearing a golden genie robe. I don't know how much of Snoke we'll get in this. I mean, I expect he'll have a presence because he's the head of the First Order and he tells everyone what to do and he has the money and he pulls the strings, but I don't think we're really going to get a whole lot of his backstory in this.
If I had to wager a guess, I would say that he's in it enough to basically make Kylo Ren feel unwanted, sending Kylo Ren probably on some sort of like vision quest like tortured heroes tend to do.
Yeah.
And I think that Snoke now has a fascination with Rey. Because, here's Kylo Ren, his like dark champion, and here's this little scavenger girl that just kicks his ass, like completely untrained. And in the novelization, we hear a voice telling Rey to kill Kylo Ren, and it's well assumed to be Snoke. So I think that Snoke is definitely more focused on getting Rey, more so than getting Kylo Ren or even getting Luke at this point. Like, I think he is fixated on Rey in a different way than Kylo Ren is fixated on her. We got the potential leak that Kylo Ren shows up on Ahch-To with some guards, and people were curious, Knights of Ren or the Praetorian Guards, and I think Snoke sends Kylo Ren and the Praetorian Guards to get Rey, and that's why it looks like Kylo Ren may end up fighting the guards with Rey.
Yeah, that would make sense. I definitely do agree with you that the Praetorian Guards are going there, not the Knights of Ren. At this point, I don't think we're really going to get anything with the Knights of Ren. I think it was just kind of a nice piece of bait to get people in and to get people talking. But,
Yeah, dude, like, I'm a little frustrated with it, and it almost feels like it's something that JJ had grand ideas for, but it was like a plot thread that Ryan decided not to pick up and run with.
yeah.
Like, JJ tried to, like, set up this, like, badass elite force that Kylo Ren could utilize, and Ryan's just like, you know what? No.
Yeah. Well, didn't JJ say that, oh, he would love to tell the story of the Knights of Ren in a book? So I don't know if they just did it as another merchandising tool, essentially, or I don't know. But it's like
Maybe. I mean, because he's surrounded with the Knights of Ren in the Forceback vision, right? Like, that's who he's with?
yeah. And their designs are completely different than the Praetorian Guard.
Yeah, and the color scheme as well.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, maybe at one point Kylo Ren and the Knights of Ren were an actual thing, and somehow now that he's gotten involved with all of this, I don't know. It's hard to know. Like, are the Knights of Ren a thing that Snoke did, or the First Order did, or they're a thing Kylo did, or what is this? Like, maybe the Knights of Ren were like the cool kids at Luke's Jedi Temple. I don't know.
Who knows? Well, didn't in the Aftermath books we get like little interludes, and in each book there's an interlude about, I think they're called the Acolytes of the Beyond, and
Yeah.
they're this cult of Vader worshippers, and they're always after. Yeah, they're always after Vader's relics, and they're not force sensitive. That was made really clear in the novels, that they weren't force sensitive, but they worshiped Darth Vader. And it would make sense that they were the precursors to the Knights of Ren, because here's Darth Vader's grandson, and if they weren't force sensitive, they would definitely look up to, Vader's grandson, who is incredibly powerful, regardless of whether or not people like him. He's extremely powerful.
I'm wondering if Colin may pick up that plot thread somehow.
I hope so, because I really hope that we get something with the Knights of Ren.
Yeah, it just feels really weird to, like, you have him in the Forceback, and then here's, like, Snoke making a huge deal out of it. Master of the Knights of Ren. And then, his name is Kylo Ren, so obviously this is all connected somehow, but what information have we even gotten about them at this point? I wonder if they maybe will be in The Last Jedi and we just don't know that yet.
I don't know. I think if there are going to be connections, and if we're gonna see them in The Last Jedi, we'll probably get more information in supplemental materials after The Last Jedi releases, like books and comics and such.
Yeah. Though, I mean, what if we get like a journey to whatever episode 9 is gonna be about the Knights of Ren?
That would be pretty cool. I'm curious about them. Like, they've been, the king of the mystery box. He's created them, and everyone's like, what is it? What is it? What is it? And it's just I don't know. Make something up. Hire a writer. Make something up. I hope that's what they don't do.
Give it to Timothy Zahn. He does really good work.
Yes, he does. Yes, he does.
Yeah, I think that's probably about as much as I can think to talk about this thing.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about all the big stuff, and all the rest of it is just tiny and really cosmetic things, or things that we've already seen. I've noticed that they did a lot of the same shots from the trailer, just from different perspectives.
Yeah, like from the behind-the-scenes perspective. Like, yeah, we get it. Rey runs.
Yeah. Or Phasma walks.
Rey runs, Phasma walks. My favorite children's book.
I can't wait to see Gwendolyn Christie as Phasma.
Do you think they're gonna like de-helmet her?
Pablo said that they were at the Chilean Comic-Con.
Nice.
Yeah, he said that we do get to see what she looks like, but it isn't. But it isn't necessarily what Gwendolyn Christie looks like. So that will be.
Oh my God, she's a Mandalorian.
That would be, yes. That's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping. I want it so bad.
That would be amazing if she was a Mando.
Well, she has a Phasma book that comes out in September. I can't wait to read that one.
Oh, yeah, I definitely want to check that out. Yeah, I think that's about it.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in and listening to the second episode of Council of the Whills. We will be back probably in a couple weeks after Jen gets back from San Diego Comic-Con, and we can take some time to discuss the more recent news tidings. And for those of you who are listening right now, we have a Tumblr at Council of the Whills, and we also have an email address, councilofthewills@gmail.com. So feel free to send us any comments, feedback, and please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on YouTube and subscribe, and we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you again for listening, and have a good day.
Bye.
Laters.